live.
This is so funny.
Chag Sameach, everyone. Chag Sameach, everyone. This is Rabbi Barry Weinstein in our kitchen. We made it into our kitchen after unpacking even more. And here is Linda.
Hi, everybody.
Happy Passover, Chag Sameach. We are so grateful that we can all be together and connected virtually. And thank you, Dan, for confirming that you can see and hear us. Baruch Hashem. The Haggadah that we are going to use, as I hope most of us realize, is the Central Conference of American Rabbis Haggadah. And we're going to begin as soon as Linda hands me the Haggadah from over there.
What would that mean?
And the first thing to do is to give thanks that we are together and to give thanks that we can be together virtually, even in the midst of this pandemic and a new kind of bondage that we have never really experienced before, at least most of us, I would think, at this time, who are with me and Linda for our virtual Seder. This is the Haggadah. I hope you can see it okay. A Passover Haggadah. And Sandy and George made Haggadahs available at Temple Sinai in Lake Charles. I hope some of you were able to access them. And it's great to have received messages already from Tevye and George and John and Anita. I'm learning how to read the messages while we continue. Happy Passover from John and Anita and from George and Tevye. That's wonderful. Okay, we're on page 21. Kadesh, sanctification of the deity. Now in the presence of loved ones and friends, before us emblems of festive rejoicing, we gather for our sacred celebration. With the household of Israel, our elders and young ones, linking and bonding the past with the future, we heed once again the divine call to service. Living our story that is told for all peoples, whose shining conclusion is yet to unfold, we gather to observe the Passover as it is written, Ushmartem et hamatzot, ki ba'etzem hayom hazeh hotzeti et sivotechem me'eretz Mitzrayim, Ushmartem et hayom hazeh l'dorotechem chukat olam. And if possible, please join me and Linda. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread, for on this very day I brought your host out of Egypt. You shall observe this day throughout the generations as a practice for all times. We assemble in fulfillment of the mitzvah, Zachor et hayom hazeh, asher yetzartem mi Mitzrayim mi beit avadim, ki b'chozek yad hotzi Adonai etchem mizeh.
Remember the day on which you went forth from Egypt, from the house of bondage, and how God freed you with a mighty hand.
And we turn the page for the lighting of the festival candles. And
Here
Linda's.
they are. Do you want to?
Well, first, Linda.
Oh, first,
Right. This right there.
Happy are those of steadfast faith who still can bless the light of candles shining in the darkness. Rejoice, O earth, in those who keep the way, for there is still song for them within you. May the festival lights we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O God of freedom.
Amen. And now you can light the candles and then
Light the
blessing.
candles. Lighting. Yep, there goes the lighting. Can you get the candles? Cannot.
Yes, candles are coming onto view. Here they are.
There are the candles. Yay. Sort of. What do I read now? Oh, Shannon, last thing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel yom tov.
Amen.
This,
Mm-hmm.
in praising God, we say that all life is sacred and kindling festive lights. We preserve life's sanctity. With every holy light we kindle, the world is brightened to a higher harmony. We praise thee, God, majestic sovereign of all life, who hallows our lives with commandments and bids us kindle festive holy light.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Linda.
What do you want? This?
We continue now, please, with Kos Kiddush, the first cup, the cup of sanctification. Our story tells that in diverse ways, with different words, God gave promises of freedom to our people. With cups of wine, we recall each one of them as now the first. Ani Adonai v'hotzeti etchem mitachat zivlot Mitzrayim. I am Adonai, and I will free you from the burdens of the Egyptians. And we turn the page.
And
I take up the Kiddush cup, which I shall do right now.
And fill it with some wine.
And probably a few of you have Manischewitz.
The original Passover wine.
First for Linda.
Oh, thank you.
And you'll again forgive me for remaining seated. It's just easier, I think, for the camera at this point, at least. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am v'roma manu mikol hashon v'kichanu b'mitzvotav v'titein lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'ahava moadim l'simcha chagim uzmanim l'sason et Yom Chag HaMatzot Hazeh Zaman Cherutenu Mikra Kodesh Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim Kivanu V'acharta V'yotanu Kidashta Mikol Hamim U'moadei Kodshecha V'simcha V'sason Hinchaltanu Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh Yisrael V'hazmanim. We praise thee, God, sovereign of existence. You have called us for service from among the peoples and have hallowed our lives with commandments. In love, thou hast given us festivals for rejoicing, seasons of celebration, this festival of Matzot, the time of our freedom, a commemoration of the exodus from Egypt. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who gave us this joyful heritage and who sanctifies Israel and the festivals. And we can do Shehechianu. I lost the picture because a phone call came, and I hope everything is okay. I'm waiting for a signal from Dan because I no longer can see anything. A phone call came, and I regret that so much. So I'm going now to my text messages, getting my phone back. We can still see you. Okay, great. So I'm going to not be able to adjust the screen unless I check out Dan. And then come back in. I'm going to wait for a text advising me accordingly as I continue, God willing. Let's do Shehechianu together. I'm on page 25. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. We praise thee, O God, sovereign of existence, who has kept us in life, sustained us, and brought us to this festive season. Amen. We continue now with a beautiful reading from Song of Songs. Okay, I'm getting a suggestion from Dan. On the bottom of the screen is the Chrome icon. If you click that, you should see the camera feed again. Thank you, Dan Boitnott. Clicking. Bingo. Thank you, Dan. God bless you. Baruch Hashem. My goodness. Well, I hope everyone is doing all right and enjoying our Seder thus far. And we continue at the bottom of page 25, and it's Linda's turn.
From Chachi.
And Chachi's wanting to participate in Seder.
Get your tushy out of the way, Chachi. Arise, my beloved, my fair one, and come away.
Thank you, Linda.
For lo, the winter is past, flowers appear on the earth. The time of singing is here. The song of the dove is heard in our land. Let us go down to the vineyards to see if the vines have budded. There will I give you my love.
Thank you, Linda. And we turn the page, please. Now we are going to take some of the greens, and we have some beautiful greens, I think it's baby spinach.
It is.
And we're going to show that to you in just a moment. And maybe you're able to also have some greens at your home. Right here they are. We take some of the greens and we dip them in the salt water, which Linda's beautifully prepared on our Seder plate. So we'll dip them first in the salt water.
Kosher salt water.
Kosher salt water. And coming back to the camera. And you can see at the top of page 26, the blessing in Hebrew, transliteration, and then English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri ha'adamah. Praised are you, Adonai, sovereign of existence, who creates the fruit of the earth, and we eat the greens. Yum. We have a beautiful matzah holder from many years ago. I hope you can see it pretty well. And it has 3 matzahs in it, right in here. And we're going to ask Linda to take the middle matzah. Okay.
One, 2, 3.
Take the middle matzah out.
Oh, there
And
it
if
is.
you have your 3 matzahs, take out your middle or just a matzah that you might have.
Middle matzah.
All right.
It's taken out.
And now, Linda, break it in half, please, darling.
There you go.
And we do have an afikomen holder,
Which was there.
which will be helping us a little later. And this is one of the oldest parts of the Passover Seder, reaching us from thousands of years ago. Now we break the middle matzah and conceal one half as the afikomen. And here is our wonderful afikomen holder. practice your Hebrew, afikomen, and Linda's going to place it there inside the little opening. And I'm folding it over to give to Linda. She will hide it where Chachi can't find it. And I'll look for it later. So we break the middle matzah, conceal one half as afikomen, and later we will share it as in days of old. The Passover offering itself was shared at this service in Jerusalem. Among people everywhere, sharing of bread forms a bond of fellowship. For the sake of our redemption, we say together the ancient words which join us with our own people, with all who are in need, with the wrongly imprisoned and the beggar in the street. For our redemption is bound up with the deliverance from bondage of people everywhere. I'd love to read this now in Aramaic, and then you could join with me or even join in the Aramaic if you wish. The oldest part of the Seder reaching us today. Ha lachma anya diachalu avatana ba'ara de Mitzrayim. Ko dechvin yete v'yehu. Ko de tzarich yete v'yifsach. Hashata hacha l'shana haba'a ba'ara de Yisrael. Hashata avdei l'shana haba'a v'nei chorin. This is the bread of affliction, the poor bread, which our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt. Let all who are hungry come and eat. Let all who are in want share the hope of Passover. As we celebrate here, we join with our people everywhere. This year we celebrate here, next year in the land of Israel. Now we are all still in bonds. Next year may all be free. Next year may we all be free from this virus of COVID-19. As we broke the middle matzah, I couldn't help but think, as our friends in the Musar community have written, it reminds us so much of our hearts, which are broken by this virus, all those who have been taken from us of blessed memory and being separated physically from one another. For us in Temple Sinai at Reeves on Ryan Street. And God willing, in Mirz Hashem, a year from now, we'll all be together again. Now we continue with Korach, continuity with past tradition. Preserving a bond with the observance of our ancestors, we follow a practice of Hillel from time when temple stood. He combined the matzah and maror and ate them together so that he might observe the precept handed down to him, exactly as his father before him. They shall eat the paschal lamb with matzah and maror together. And just a quick note that in the margins are the citations from Torah, from the Hebrew Bible, where most of this whole Haggadah comes from. So please say with me, together they shall be the matzah of freedom, the maror of slavery. For in the time of freedom there is knowledge of servitude, and in the time of bondage the hope of redemption. So Linda has now prepared, and Linda prepared for me, and Linda will prepare for her the matzah together with the maror. I'm going to take a little slice of the maror that Linda has prepared. And I want to show you the horseradish root from Kosher Cajun. Is that a horseradish root? That is a real horseradish root.
And I cut the pieces from the bottom of the horseradish root.
And here's one of those slices. So
be careful.
We are getting ready now.
Very hot.
Let's back up just a little bit. I floated over motzi, matzah, and maror. I'd like to do that now on page 28. So take a little piece of the uppermost matzah, and we'll distribute it among each of us. And we're distributing that among Linda and me. And we make the first blessing, a motzi blessing, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We praise thee, O God, sovereign of existence, who brings forth bread from the earth. Now we make that general blessing of thanks to God more specific. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. We praise thee, O God, sovereign of existence, who hallows our lives with commandments, who has commanded us regarding the eating of matzah. Now, for the first time, Passover, we eat the matzah. Now we take a little bit of the horseradish on a piece of matzah. I've got a piece of horseradish right here. And we say the blessing for maror. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat maror. We praise thee, O God, sovereign of existence, who hallows our lives through commandments, who has commanded us regarding the eating of maror. Now we have the horseradish with the maror. That is good horseradish.
That is strong horseradish.
It is strong horseradish. Linda agrees. And where's my Kiddush cup? Gotta wash down the horseradish. Wow. That Jewish dristan or sinus
Open your sinuses.
opens the sinuses. Now we have the korech. We preserve a bond with the observance of our ancestors, the practice of Hillel, from the time when the temple stood. He combined the matzah and maror and ate them together, so that he might observe the precept handed down to him exactly as his father before him. They shall eat the paschal lamb with matzah and maror together. And so we pray.
Together they shall be the matzah of freedom, the maror of slavery, and for in the time of freedom there is knowledge of servitude, and in the time of bondage the hope of redemption.
And so now between two pieces of matzah, we eat the maror and the charoset. I made my sandwich right there. And we are doing a good job of messing up our tablecloth.
You are doing a good job.
Yes, I'm doing a good job. We can relate to the bitterness of this virus. It is unseen, but it is certainly maror in our lives today. With God's help and our own self-care, we are going to come through this just as our ancestors came through many, many, many years ago. Again, with help from Hashem. 4 questions. We will go, young and old. We will go with our sons and our daughters, for we must observe unto God a festival. So it was said before the first Passover observance. To this day, our children continue to join in our observance. And since the younger one is to my right, Linda is the child here today, and she is going to do the 4 questions in English, then we can sing them.
Oh, wow. They,
Right down here.
right down there. Why is this night different from all other nights? On all other nights, we eat either leavened bread or matzah. On this night, only matzah. On all other nights, we eat all kinds of herbs. On this night, we especially eat bitter herbs. On all other nights, we do not dip herbs at all. On this night, we dip them twice. On all other nights, we eat in an ordinary manner. Tonight, we dine with special ceremony.
Beautiful. And in the back, at song number 8 and 9 in the back, it is coming up right now. The version that I'd like to use is
Here somewhere.
It is here. Here it is, page 102. This is an Israeli version. No, I'm going to go for the version on the left, page 103. I know that a little better. So join with me, page 103 in the back of the book. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot shebachol haleilot anu ochlin chametz umatzah halayla hazeh kulo matzah shebachol haleilot anu ochlin shar yirakot halayla hazeh maror Shebachol haleilot ein anu matbilin afilu pam achat halayla hazeh shetei famim Shebachol haleilot anu ochlin ben yoshvin uvein misubin halayla hazeh kulanu misubin. I'm trying to misubin. Okay.
Need a pillow.
Need a pillow, yes. Pillow will come. Okay, please, let's continue now. We are now on page number 30. And you can see, to me, this magnificent watercolor that we've talked about over the years on page 30. The four sons, really the four aspects of all of us. The four personalities, the four of the midot, four of the soul traits within all of us. 4 times the Torah bids us tell our children of the exodus from Egypt. 4 times the Torah repeats, and you shall tell your child on this day. From this, our tradition infers that there are different kinds of people. To each we respond in a different manner, according to the question, the situation, and the need. I wonder if someone can text onto the what do you call that side of the screen? Well, the YouTube. I wonder if there's a wise person that wants to tell me he or she is the wise person, and Linda or I will read for you, and I'll look at my phone. We failed to get up Linda's email up, but that's okay. And Sandy has just sent us a note. Never thought of spinach. Always did parsley. Yes, we got the spinach. Okay, thank you, Sandy. And
You want me to say what Barbara wrote in
yeah.
the Bible?
Okay, here comes Linda with the wise person right there.
I received a beautiful text from Barbara DeBartolo earlier today, and I kept it in my phone because I was going to read it, and my phone disappeared it. But basically, it talked about how women really were very important in the redemption of the Jews from Egypt. And they were so important that the redemption wouldn't have happened if they weren't there. The wise person asks, what are the precepts, laws, and observances which Adonai our God commanded us? In response, we should explain the observances of the Passover thoroughly, the very last one of which is after the Passover Seder, we do not turn to other kinds of entertainment.
And now we look for the wicked person. George said, thank you, George. George texted in the chat, and Dan texted me that is called the chat here on the YouTube page. George texted that he's wise. Thank you, George. Thank God. I appreciate that. And no one has texted that they're a wicked person. So we haven't read Wicked yet, have we? No. So Linda's going to continue far, far the other side from Wicked, my bride.
Wonderful.
Yes, wonderful.
The wicked person says, what is this observance to you? Since he says to you and not to us, He rejects essentials of our faith, the unity of God and the community of Israel. Thus we respond sharply. It is because of what God did for me when I went forth from Egypt, for me, that is, and not for you. For had you been there, you would not have known redemption.
And John texted John Campbell about Anita as being wicked, but that's lovely wicked. And Tevye texted that Uncle Joel is the wicked one.
Uh-oh.
I wonder if Uncle Joel's listening. And again, I don't know if this is Skylar or Tevye. This is one of the Davidson Desideer families. Skylar, maybe. I'm not sure if Skylar is Tevye or not. But Joel always did the wicked. So we read that in behalf of Joel. And at the bottom of the page, the wicked one
withdraws the self from anything beyond the self,
and thus from the joy of redemption. And I see that Sandy is coming across as Skylar, and that's the magic of the digital age. Thank you, Sandy. And we turn the page and look for a simple person. Do we have a simple person volunteering? We're looking for the simple person, and Linda will read now the simple person.
When the simple person asks, "What is this?" then we say, "With a mighty arm, God freed us from Egypt, from the house of bondage."
And to the person of open simplicity, give a straightforward answer. For the Torah of God makes wise the simple. And I think Sandy is saying that Sandy's the simple person. Sandy's simple. Simple Sandy. That's got some good alliteration.
I don't agree with that.
We don't agree. Sandy's in the wise category for sure. And finally, the person unable to ask.
With the person unable to ask, you must begin yourself as it is written. You shall tell your child on that day, saying, "This is because of what God did for me when I went free from Egypt."
With one who has no need to know, no will to serve, you must begin yourself to awaken the need to give the will. As in the pages of our history, so too in the events of our time, in the encounters of our daily lives, these persons, the wise, the wicked, the simple, the one unable to ask, reappear in various guises. To this day, their questions must be pondered and answers sought, the story given life and meaning. There's a beautiful reading now from Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev at the bottom of 33, and Linda will read for
Rabbi
us.
Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev said, "Lord of the world, I, Levi Yitzchak, am the one who does not know how to ask. You must start with him. The father must take the initiative. Lord of the world, are you not my father? Am I not your son? I do not even know what question to ask. You take the initiative and disclose the answers to me. Show me in connection with whatever happens to me, what is required of me. What are you asking for me, God? I do not ask you why I suffer. I wish to know only that I suffer for your sake."
And we continue now with many questions. We're at the narration and we begin to answer. We're at the top of 34, please. Our history moves from slavery toward freedom. Our narration begins with degradation and rises to dignity. Our service opens with the rule of evil and advances toward the kingdom of God. This is our theme. We were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt, and God freed us from Egypt with a mighty hand. Had not the Holy One, praised be he, delivered our people from Egypt, then we, our children and our children's children, would still be enslaved. And therefore, even if all of us were wise, all of us people of understanding, all of us learned in Torah, it would still be our obligation to tell the story of the Exodus from Egypt. Moreover, whoever searches deeply into its meaning is considered praiseworthy. And we are slaves today to this virus. The virus is enslaving us in our homes, our communities, separating us. But just as we escaped with the hand of God, if you will, from slavery, we shall, with God's help and the cooperation and self-care for all of us around the world, we shall escape from this virus surely. For redemption is not yet complete. And I'm turning to page number 36. An instance of this is told of Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Joshua, Rabbi Eleazar, the son of Azariah, Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Tarfon. At their Seder in Bnei Brak, they discussed the going out from Egypt through the entire Passover night until their students came and said to them, "Our teachers, the time has already come to recite the morning Shema. We knew physical servitude in Egypt, but before that, our souls were in bondage." And it's important for us to remember our own neshamot, our own neshamas, and not let our souls themselves, God forbid, be in bondage during this virus. Page 37, please. We have known physical bondage and spiritual servitude. We have been subjected to social degradation, for in the eyes of others, we were a subject people, Aramaeans. My father was a fugitive Aramaean. He went down to Egypt with meager numbers and sojourned there, and there became a great and populous nation. And we have a message from Anna that Anna can hear George singing in her mind. Absolutely. There's a beautiful reading that Linda will read for us, and hopefully you'll join at home. I Am a Jew by Edmund Flegg on page 38, please.
I am a Jew because, born of Israel and having lost her, I have felt her live again in me, more loving than myself. I am a Jew because, born of Israel and having regained her, I wish to live after me, more living than myself. I am a Jew because the faith of Israel demands of me no abdication of the mind. I am a Jew because the faith of Israel requires of me all the devotion of my heart. I am a Jew because in every place where suffering weeps, the Jew weeps. I am a Jew because every time when despair cries out, the Jew hopes. I am a Jew because the promise of Israel is the universal promise. I am a Jew because for Israel, the world is not yet completed. We are completing it. I am a Jew because for Israel, humanity is yet not fully formed. Humanity must perfect itself.
Thank you, Linda. Page 40, toward the bottom of the page, please. So they set taskmasters over them with forced labor, and they built garrison cities for Pharaoh, Pithom, and Ramses. The Egyptians embittered their lives with harsh labor of mortar and brick, and in all sorts of work in the fields. But the more they were oppressed, the more they increased and spread out, so that the Egyptians came to despise and dread the Israelites. So Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, "Every boy that is born shall be thrown in the Nile, but let every girl live." We cried unto Adonai, the God of our ancestors, and God heeded our plight, our misery, and our oppression. The reading from Peter Fischel, who perished in Auschwitz.
We got used to standing in line at 7 o'clock in the morning, at 12 noon, and again at 7 o'clock in the evening. We stood in a long queue with a plate in our hand into which they ladle a little warm up water with a salty or coffee flavor, or else they gave us a few potatoes. We got used to sleeping without a bed, to saluting every uniform, not to walk on the sidewalks, and then again to walk on the sidewalks. We got used to undeserved slaps, blows, and execution. We got accustomed to seeing piled up coffins full of corpses, to seeing the sick amidst dirt and filth, and to seeing the helpless doctors. We got used to the fact that from time to time, 1,000 unhappy souls would come here, and that from time to time, another 1,000 unhappy souls would go away.
Thank you, Linda. God heard our moaning, And God remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And God looked upon the Israelites, and God knew. And I believe that God knows, as I understand the Holy One and holiness itself, that each of us, through our own efforts, enter into a kind of Kiddushah, a kind of holiness, if you will, even now, as we are connected. And I am so grateful that we can be connected thusly. Aunt Reeves' favorite, that is Sandy, I think. And I'm not sure what Sandy's telling us about Aunt Reeves' favorite. And George thanks Anna for the compliment. I love the chat line. That is something new for me. And although we did have a little bit of chat a few days ago on Shabbat. And Linda can keep an eye on that too.
Yeah.
Okay, I am a Jew. Great, I'm glad we included that reading. That is Sandy telling us that that's one of Aunt Reeve's favorite. And we're certainly holding Aunt Reeve and Rose so deep in our hearts with Brenda Backrack. I was able to reach Brenda, but I tried to reach Reeve, and I did connect with Jill. I don't think I have a good phone number for Rose, but if someone can text it to me later, I will certainly want to give Rose a ring and wish her a happy Passover. So we go now to raise our cups of wine, and I'll find my cup. We're in the middle of page 45, please. We raise our cups. We raise our cups, and we say, there we go. Linda's gonna get it. We praise the God who keeps faith with the people Israel. God's promise of redemption in ancient days sustains us now. For more than
one enemy has risen against us to destroy us. In every generation and in every age, some rise up to plot our annihilation, but a divine power sustains and delivers us.
And we place our cups back untasted. And this is an enemy not just against the Jews, God forbid, an enemy of all people with this COVID-19. We continue now, please, over to Makot Mitzrayim, the plagues of Egypt. I'm going to let Linda read while I look for another insert right down there, please. We're at the bottom of 48.
Our rabbis taught, when Egyptian armies were drowning in the sea, the heavenly host broke out in songs of jubilation. God silenced them and said, "My creatures are perishing and you sing praises." Though we descend from those redeemed from brutal Egypt and have ourselves rejoiced to see oppressors overcome, yet our triumph is diminished by the slaughter of the foe, as the wine within the cup of joy is lessened when we pour 10 drops for the plagues from Egypt. Our rabbis taught the source comes into the world because of justice delayed and justice denied. To remember upheaval that follows oppression, we pour 10 drops from the plagues, for the plagues from Egypt.
And as we recall the plagues brought upon Egypt by God through the agency of Moses, I have this wonderful reading, thanks to the Musar Institute, written and compiled by Dr. Alan Marinis, by Avi Fertig and Eric Gervis. And it reminds us that as we recite each plague, we diminish our sense of joy by removing a drop of wine from our cups. This year, we are surely thinking not only of the plagues of long ago. Indeed, in a very real sense, we are living through our own plague, COVID-19. Day by day, this plague is diminishing our sense of joy as it sweeps across the face of our planet, leaving no nation, no people untouched. Our cups of joy are drained every day as we hear the ever higher numbers of those afflicted and of the lives lost in this 21st century plague. Like all challenges, our situation tests us, even as the plagues of long ago were a test of wills between Pharaoh and the God of Israel. Rav Eliyahu Dressler teaches that everything has both an inner and an outer aspect. The person whose ego is attuned to externals sees only the outer aspects. A person attuned to inner truth sees the physical facts, but sees them only as effects. The primary cause, the true cause, is the spiritual cause. While today's reality is very much a physical one, we can also ask ourselves about what spiritual lessons we can learn and must learn from the crisis we share with all humanity in these days. So as we recall the plagues of long ago which led to our people's freedom, let us reflect on the plagues of our time beyond the deadly novel coronavirus. And we are now going to take our cups and find a piece of tablecloth or a napkin. And we're on page 49. We're managing a book, a cup, a laptop,
And a napkin.
and a napkin. I'm trying to hold the book so Linda can see it too. Each drop of wine we pour is hope and prayer that people will cast out the plagues that threaten everyone. I'm toward the bottom of page 49. Everywhere they are found, beginning in our own hearts, the making of war, the teaching of hate and violence, despoliation of the earth, perversion of justice and government, fomenting of vice and crime, neglect of human needs, oppression of nations and peoples, corruption of culture, subjugation of science, learning, and human discourse, the erosion of freedoms. Elu eser makot shehevi HaKadosh Baruch Hu al hamitzrim v'mitzrayim ve'eluhein. We pour 10 drops for the plagues upon Egypt. And so now we I usually take the little finger and we pour out a drop of wine or grape juice at this time. So please say with me, Dam, blood, Tzfardea, frogs, Keenan, lice, Arrow, wild beasts, Dever, blight, Sheen, boils, Barad, hail, Arba, locust, Hosheth, darkness, Makap, Bechorot, slaying of the firstborn. Now there's a lot of comment about that last drop. I washed my hands earlier just before Seder, and so there we go. Now we come to Michamocha Bayanim Adonai, Michamocha Nadar Bakodesh, Norati Lod, Osei Feleh, Adonai Yimloch Leolam Voed. Who is like unto you, O God, among the mighty? Who is like unto you, awesome in praises, working wonders? Adonai shall reign forever and ever. How many gifts God has bestowed upon us. Had God brought us out of Egypt and not divided the sea for us?
Dayenu.
Had God divided the sea and not permitted us to cross on dry land?
Dayenu.
Had God permitted us to cross the sea on dry land and sustained us and not sustained us for 40 years in the desert?
Dayenu.
Had God sustained us for 40 years in the desert and not fed us with manna?
Dayenu.
Had God fed us with manna and not given us Shabbat?
Dayenu.
Had God given us the Shabbat and not brought us to Temple Sinai and Lake Charles and to Mount Sinai? Dayenu. Had God brought us to Mount Sinai and not given us the Torah?
Dayenu.
Had God given us the Torah and not led us into the land of Israel?
Dayenu.
Had God led us into the land of Israel, not built for us the temple?
Dayenu.
Had God built for us the temple and not sent us prophets of truth?
Dayenu.
Had God sent us prophets of truth and not made us a holy people? George says, Dayenu. Read with me, please, in the middle of 53. How plentiful are the reasons for our gratitude to God.
The many
Favors bestowed upon us. God brought us out of Egypt, divided the Red Sea for us, permitted us to cross on dry land, sustained us for 40 years in the desert, fed us with manna, ordained the Sabbath, brought us to Mount Sinai, gave us the Torah, led us into the land of Israel, built for us the temple, sent us prophets of truth, and made us a holy people to perfect the world under the kingdom of the Almighty. in truth and in righteousness. And if we head to the back of the book, although I don't think we need to, I will help me with the words and not mix up the verses. For Diano. Okay, page 105. Page 105. It's toward the bottom, middle of the page, insert number 13. Ilu Hotzianu, Hotzianu mi Mitzrayim, Hotzianu mi Mitzrayim, Dianu. Dianu, 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 Dianu. Ilu Natan lanu eta Shabbat, Natan lanu eta Shabbat, Dianu. Dianu, 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 Dianu. Ilu Natan lanu eta Torah, Natan lanu eta Torah, Dianu. Dianu, 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 Dianu.
I just noticed
Yes.
that's not Dianu.
Here we go
It
with
is.
a Linda comment.
It is. Where is it?
It's right here. It's on page, we just lost the page. And the page is coming back to us. And just right here it is, Diana.
Okay, you will see that it's not Dianu.
Okay,
It is
Diana.
Dianu. It's not the word die.
Oh, I love
It's
you so much.
Dianu. It's Dada.
I love you so
Dada.
much. Kissy, kissy.
Yeah, and that's
Thank you,
That's nice
Marion.
to say that.
Diana.
Now, how I know that?
How do you know that?
One of the singers at B'nai Israel
Oh,
used to say Dianu.
okay. Okay. We go now to page 53, toward the bottom of the page. According to the Mishnah, Rabbi Gamliel said, whoever does not consider well the meaning of these three, Pesach, Matzah, Maror, has not fulfilled the purpose of the Seder. Pesach, can you hand me the shenko? Pesach, Shahayu Avotenu Ochlin Bizman Shebet Hamikdash Kayam Al Shum Ma. What is the meaning of this Pesach? Do we have a volunteer? And thank you, Sandy, for commenting on our Dayenu. And looking for a volunteer to tell me about Pesach. In family groups, at the top of page 55, our people ate the Paschal lamb when the temple was still standing. For them, the Pesach was a reminder that God passed over the houses of our ancestors in Egypt during the redemption. In our day, too, we invoke God as the guardian of the household of Israel. As in our dwellings, we renew the family bond and strengthen our ties with the whole household of Israel. Matzah zu. Hold up a piece of matzah. Matzah zu, shanu ochlin al shum ma. What is the meaning of this matzah? And I just will ask Linda to tell us the meaning of the matzah.
Are we finished with
Yeah,
this?
we have to put down the shank. Thank you very much, Linda. Got to get that joke in. Of old matzah.
Oh, matzah joke.
Of old matzah.
Of old, matzah was meant to recall that the dough prepared by our people had no time to rise before the final act of redemption. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough, since they had been driven out of Egypt and could not delay, nor had they prepared provisions for themselves.
And we join together to the driven of the earth. We link ourselves today as we fulfill the mitzvah. For 7 days shall eat matzah, that you may remember your departure from Egypt as long as you live. Maror zeh sha'anu ochlin al shum ma. And Linda's holding up the maror, the horseradish root. What is the meaning of the horseradish root? and looking for a volunteer, and we'll read it. It was eaten, they said, because the Egyptians embittered the lives of our people, as it is written, with hard labor at mortar and brick and all sorts of work in the field, with all the tasks ruthlessly imposed upon them. Today as well, wherever slavery remains, Jews taste its bitterness. In every generation, each of us should feel as though we ourselves had gone forth from Egypt. As it is written, and you shall explain to your child on that day, it is because of what the Eternal did for me when I myself went forth from Egypt. Still we remember it was we who were slaves, we who were strangers, and therefore we recall these words as well. You shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the feelings of the stranger, having yourselves been strangers in the land of Egypt. When strangers reside with you in your land, you shall not wrong them. You shall love them as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall rejoice before God with your son and daughter, and the stranger and the orphan and the widow in your midst. Always remember that you were slaves in the land of Egypt. You shall not subvert the rights of the stranger or the orphan. Remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt. Not only our ancestors alone did the Holy One redeem, but us as well, along with them, as it is written, and God freed us from Egypt, so as to take us and give us the land sworn to our ancestors as we raise our cups. One more time. Therefore, let us rejoice at the wonder of our deliverance, from bondage to freedom, from agony to joy, from mourning to festivity, from darkness to light, from servitude to redemption. Before God, let us ever sing a new song. And we will be redeemed from the slavery that we experience to this virus all around the world. We will be redeemed. Its bitterness will always be among us, but we shall be freed, and we shall remember the bitterness of this slavery for the rest of our lives. Join me, please, in Psalm 113 on 59. Page 59, Psalm 113. Hallelujah. Praise, O servants of Adonai. Praise the name of Adonai. God's name is praised in every place. From where the sun rises to where it sets, God is exalted above all nations. His glory is beyond all heavens. Who is like Adonai our God, whose throne is set on high, but lowers his gaze to heaven and earth, raising the poor from the dust, lifting the destitute from the squalor, seating them among nobility, with the princely of their people, changing the barren woman to a joyful mother of children. Hallelujah. Then Judah became his holy place, Israel his dominion. Tremble, O earth, at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the God of Jacob, who turns the rocks into pools, the flint into fountains. And we take our second cup. This is the cup of redemption with God's help and the participation of all people everywhere. In self-care, we will have redemption. Absolutely. With the second cup of wine, we recall the second promise of liberation. As it is written, I will deliver you from the bondage. Exodus chapter 6, verse 6 is where we have the four promises. Thus, we have four promises. We have 4 cups of wine. Remembering with gratitude the redemption of our ancestors from Egypt, rejoicing in the fruits of our struggle for freedom, we look now with hope to the celebration of a future redemption, the building of the city of peace in which all will rejoice in the service of God, singing together a new song. We praise thee, O God, Redeemer of Israel, as we chant together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen. We praise thee, O God, sovereign of all existence, who creates the fruit of the vine. It is customary to begin the meal with hard-boiled eggs flavored with salt water, and we have a roasted hard-boiled egg. It comes to symbolize new growth, new life, new hope. The roasted egg on the Seder also has come to represent the ancient temple service in Jerusalem, the holy city. And it's been a long time since we roasted an egg. Thank you, Sandy, for giving us the tips on how to roast the egg. And so now I'm going to just show you the beautiful Seder plate that Linda has arranged. It's an old Seder plate that came to us. It's a memorial Seder, so to speak, that came from the Precious Legacy. I'm going to tilt the camera.
Prague.
From Prague, right.
It was created like the one that was made for Prague.
Yeah, from Prague many, many years ago, I believe, during Shoah, during the years of the Second World War, during Shoah, the Holocaust. And we got it at New Orleans, at the New Orleans Museum, when they had the Precious Legacy many, many years ago. We led a group down, and a couple different groups from the community and from our temple, to the legacy, the Precious Legacy, which is the restoration of items that the Nazis took and confiscated from shuls, synagogues all around their conquered territory. And it's a beautiful exhibit. And in one of our boxes, we have the actual museum copy of that book, and you would really enjoy seeing it one day. But that's our beautiful Seder plate. You can see some of the beautiful designs on it. And now is the time to eat. So eat and enjoy. And my goal was 60 minutes. I'm 1 minute over. But we are going to come back in just a few minutes because this little animal with 4 legs is prancing around. That means he has to get outside for just a minute. And so we'll try to be quiet. And please have the egg and the salt water and your meal. And we shall be back in just a few.
Give this matzah to Chachi.
Okay. Chachi's going to get a matzah now. He's so ready.
Chachi.
There he goes.
Woo.
Oh, wow.
What is that? It's a matzah.
He loves it.
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Hag Sameach, everyone. I'm not going to touch the laptop. I hope this is okay. Everyone eat, says George. It is time to eat. And thank you, Sandy, commenting to Linda that we are a very pretty roasted egg. Thank you, Sandy.
Sandy, what happened was I put the oven on 400, and I went in there at some point to check the egg, and I knocked the egg on the bottom of the oven, and it really got roasted there. But I tried to get it out, and wow, it's inside the oven is really hot.
Oh, 400 degrees.
Yeah,
hot,
it was
darling.
really hot.
And Lainey, our daughter, Lainey Weinstein Fabianic, has gone to the chat line, and I don't know if can you all see the chat also, or is it just us? Lainey's watching with her husband Chris and their beautiful daughters Sakura and Lotus. I love you, Mom and Dad. We are watching on our TV in the living room. Y'all look amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Baruch Hashem. Yes, we're feeling well, Baruch Hashem, thank God, and staying very isolated. And here I am kibitzing. I hope you all are eating. Linda and I will enjoy our meal a little bit later. But I want to get this dog out. We'll just break for 4 or 5 minutes. Go, I'm going. Linda, you can talk if you want. And there's some comments coming in, I think. Lainey says, Jesse's with us too. Hey,
wow.
Jesse, love you also. Love you, Sakura and Lotus, Chris and Lainey. All of you so much. Over the miles.
I'm sure many of you have interesting family stories about being at Seder and things happen that you repeat every year. And one of these things that I repeat every year is an experience I had when I was about 15. And my brother was the head of a fraternity at Harper College called the Dionysian Society. And I think they spent a lot of time drinking beer, from what I could tell. But one year he invited his entire fraternity to our home for Seder. And of course, my mother was thrilled. She was able to chop up a whole bunch of liver and was very proud of the fact that she could have all of my brother's guests. Now, I was the only child there, and I don't know where my sister was, but she wasn't there. And of course, we went around the table and everybody got a chance to read a part. When it came to my part, I was very embarrassed because it's a part in Song of Songs that talked about love and other things like that. And I remember everybody laughed because I was turning beet red. And of course, that's hard to handle when you're a teenager in front of 15 good-looking guys from college. So, but I survived, and I survived the laughter, and that was something I'll always remember because it was so funny. It's funny now, it wasn't funny then. This has nothing to do with Seder, but one of the fun things we used to do for Hanukkah, at the end of Hanukkah celebration, we put our two dogs, Amy was always helpful with this, we put our two dogs that we had then outside the front door. And when the Seder was over, we always said, okay, the dogs are coming in to have some matzah. And of course, the dogs came running in and grabbed a piece of matzah, and they were very happy. So if you have a dog, that's a fun thing to do because dogs like to eat, you know that. I made the harosas a lot different than I would have made it otherwise because I didn't have any dates. I didn't have any dates. So because I always used dates because my father's mother, and they were from Greece, always put dates in the harosas and chopped it up real well. So instead of that, I had some apricot preserve. I don't know where I got it. And mixed that up with it. And wow, that really gave it a flavor. I usually put this through a grinder, but this time I just cut them up, and it looks prettier too because you can see the apple skin and the different shapes of the almonds and the walnuts. So try that next time. It's fun. Except it was hard to cut the apple up.
Dr. Seuss has some advice for us, written by Esther, Feurst. Don't know, Randy, if this is related or not. I don't think that's the right spelling for Randy first, but Linda, would you like to read Dr. Seuss's advice for Passover?
After I finished
Oh,
eating
the
this.
harosas, okay.
Dr. Seuss's Advice by Esther First. I do not want you in my house. I do not want you or your spouse. I do not wish to eat with you at Seder 1 or Seder 2. Don't get me wrong, I think you're nice, but the CDC gave out this advice. 10 plagues are enough, you don't need one more. Turn away Elijah the prophet if he shows up at your door. This year's only guests, father, mother, sister, brother, next year in Jerusalem, we will say to each other, from now on at each Seder, this story we will tell of how God saved his people with a squirt of Purell. That's funny.
I think that's funny.
It's very funny.
Well, even though you might still be eating, we will come toward the conclusion of our time together, and we will go over to giving thanks.
You want to show everybody our accumulation of edible things?
Our accumulation of edible things, yes, coming up right now. We had a wonderful package delivered by Mushka and Parrots from the Chabad Baton Rouge, which they received from Kosher Cajun. This is whitefish and pike Manischewitz liquid broth. It is so good. And this is matzah meal. Delicious. And
From which you make matzah.
on which you make you use
Matzah
this
balls.
matzah balls. And we have also Manischewitz matzah ball mix. And we have the most yummy matzah. I think this came from Kosher Cajun. We have two different matzahs that we got. I got some of this matzah from Congregation B'nai Israel from Rabbi Goldson. This is Strites Organic Matzahs, non-GMO, sugar-free, vegan, good source of fiber. And this is the Manischewitz original matzah enjoyed for generations since 1888. Plain and simple, the way it should be.
And you forgot the one with garlic and rosemary.
Yeah, the one we have a really tasty one. Where did that one with garlic and rosemary come from?
From Joel. I don't think you'll find it there, Barry. Anyway, the box said it's like crackers, and indeed they broke very easily. But the difference between that and the real matzah is night and day. It is very delicious. If you can get a hold of some for next year, you'll really be happy and surprised. I know we were.
And, of course, Manischewitz chocolate nut brownie macaroons. Yum. Unopened. We're not touching it till after our meal tonight. Boy, are these macaroons good.
I asked for Joel to send me a shank bone
That's Joel of Kosher Cajun.
of kosher Cajun. I don't know why, but he sent me 3 shank bones, about all the same size. I never saw such a big shank bone. If anybody's interested in 2 of the other shank bones that I have, let me know. And when things get less complicated, I'll bring the shank bones to you so you can freeze it for next Seder. And also, if you happen to have a horseradish root, one year when we had a bigger yard, I actually planted the horseradish root that we had for Passover, and the roots came off the bottom like that in the Passover, and the leaves came up the top. They were very long leaves, and they were so aromatic that when you walked by them, all you could smell was horseradish. But it's fun to plant something different, and then you'll have your own horseradish root also.
I always think it's important to show the breadth and the depth of Jewish history and Jewish writing. I keep adding, thanks to many of you, to the Haggadahs that Linda and I have. This is from Moshiach Center in Florida, the guide for celebrating the Seder. And many of us have used the Promise Haggadah. And many will recognize the Passover Haggadah, the newly revised edition. Opened up a box the other day, and found all the Haggadot. Thank goodness. This is Haggadah Shel Pesach Ba'otiot Gedolot. This is the Haggadah of Passover in big letters. And guess what language it is? With Hebrew and all the directions in Yiddish. This is such a precious book. I cannot remember who gave it to me, but it is just beautiful. And Passover service by revised and edited by Dr. M. Stern. I'm just curious when it was made. And the year is 1926. I think this is a keeper. 1926. I use it to practice the little Yiddish that I know and can read. This was a gift to us. It's a beautiful book, a Passover Haggadah called The Open Door. This is the Mitzudah, linear Passover Seder, with everything translated line by line. It's called the Mitzudah, linear Passover Haggadah. And New York Times Passover Cookbook, one of several Passover cookbooks that we have, and a couple others, but most importantly, just a few weeks before he passed away, Alav HaShalom, look what Sam sent me. It says, Barry, for your collection, used this when my kids were young. Sam, shall always treasure this, and with it, beautiful, precious memories of our beloved Sam, Alav HaShalom. And we sharing this Seder with you all. Thank you so much, Susan. And wow, we got lots of comments. Thanks from Anna Silverstein. And George made a banana charoset this year. And and that's banana charoset. Wow, that must be interesting, George. That must be interesting, George. I made apples, says Anna. John Campbell's asking about banana. And George said, yes, unusual, but it's good, something different. And Sandy says, I love traditional charoset, but apricot sounds like a wonderful addition. And you can all see these. I think that's correct that Dan told me. Anna's thanking Sandy. And thank you so much, Anna, for your comments. Mom, we should love to plant that horseradish root. We'll put it in the mail, Laney Pooh. Laney, we'll have it in the mail. And Sandy made Elizabeth Hellman's of blessed memory. Passover mock oatmeal cookies. Wow, save me a couple, Sandy. Delicious recipe in our Beauty and the Feast cookbook. Okay, we are going to conclude now. I'm a little over, but the actual service we did within the hour plus 1 minute. And so we draw toward our conclusion, and we go now. I hope you've hunted for the afikomen, and I will hunt for our afikomen a little bit later this evening. And so let's go, please, to Birkat Hamazon. It's kind of abbreviated. Join with me. It's 62 and following. Rabotai Nivareh, Yehi Shem Adonai Mivarach, Me'ata V'ad Olam, V'rshut Maranan V'Rabanan V'Rabotai Nivarech Eloheinu Shachanu Mishlo, Baruch Eloheinu Shachanu Mishlo, Tuvo Chayinu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Azan et haolam kulo b'tuvo v'chein b'chesed u'rachamim. Hu notein lechem l'cho basar ki le'olam chasto u'v'tuvo hagado. Tamid lo chasar lanu v'al yaksar lanu ma'azon le'nai. Hazan et hakol. Uvnei Yerushalayim Yirakodesh B'mheira v'yameinu Baruch atah Adonai Boneh Barachamav Yerushalayim Amen. V'yom Chag HaMatzot Hazeh Zachrenu Adonai Eloheinu Bo L'Tova Ufokdenu Vo L'Vracha V'Hoshienu Vo L'Chayim HaRachaman. On this festival of Pesach, preserve us in life. All merciful, rule over us forever. Sustain us with honorable work. HaRachaman. I'm at the bottom of page 64. HaRachaman. Uyaski Reinu Limod HaMashiach. U'Lechayei HaMeruba B'Bayit Hazev Al Shulchan Zeh Shechanu Alav. HaRachaman. U'Yivarech Otanu V'Kol Asher Lanu. Kamosh and Baruchu Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Bakol Mikol Kol Kein Yivarecho Tanu Kulanu Yachad B'Vracha Shlema V'Nomar Amen. May God who blessed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may the one who blessed our mothers, bless all of Bimrama Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yamaru Amen. Adonai. Take our third cup now, the cup of blessing. As we take it up, we recall the third divine promise as it is written from the 6th chapter of Exodus at verse 6. These are the 4 promises, thus the 4 cups of wine. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagaf. And Linda can help us get down to Kos Eliyahu, where it starts how many images on 68.
How many images this moment brings to mind, how many thoughts the memory of Elijah stirs in us, the times when we were objects of distrust, when our doors were open to surveillance, when ignorant and hostile men forced us, who in defense of justice challenged power. In many tales from Jewish lore, he reappears to help the weak. Our people always prayed.
May the All-Merciful send us Elijah the prophet to comfort us with tidings of deliverance.
For every undecided question then of pain and sorrow, of unrewarded worth, and unrequited evil, Elijah will someday provide the answer.
There are links between heaven and earth which promise an answer and resolution of life's perplexities. Elijah opens for us the realm of mystery and wonder as we now open the door for Elijah. And go ahead and open your door. And behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet, and he will turn the hearts of the parents to the children, and the hearts of the children to the parents before the coming of the great and awesome day of God. From beyond, Elijah's spirit enters in these walls and tastes again with us the wine of endless promise. I will bring you into the land. And you can join, I'm sure. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhira v'yameinu, Yavo Eleinu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. And we go now to Who Knows One. If you can, we'll look for a volunteer or so. Who knows one? I know one. One is our God in heaven and on earth. I know two. Who knows two? I know two. Two are the tables of the commandments. One is our God in heaven and on earth. Who knows three?
I know three. Three is the number of the patriarchs. Two are the tables of the commandments. One is our God in heaven and earth.
Who knows four? I know four. 4 is the number of the matriarchs. 3, the number of patriarchs. 2 are the tables of the commandments. 1 is our God in heaven and on earth. Who knows 5?
I know 5. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 is the number of the matriarchs. 3, the number of the patriarchs. 2 are the tables of the commandments. 1 is our God in heaven and earth.
Who knows 6? I know 6. Oh, well, I gotta just comment that George opened his door and he got a package from Amazon. Surprise, George. Who knows 6? I know 6. 6 sections the Mishnah has. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 is the number of matriarchs. 3, the number of the patriarchs. 2 are the tables of the commandments. 1 is our God in heaven and on earth.
George, why don't you do the 7th, even though we can't hear you?
Sako knows 7, for she is 7. Oh, wonderful. Sakura.
Oh, yay.
Sakura can read with us. I know 7. 7 days there are in a week. 6 sections the Mishnah has. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 is the number of matriarchs. 3, the number of big words. 2 are the tables of the commandments. 1 is our God in heaven and on earth. Who knows 8? I know 8. 8 are the days to the service of the covenant. 7 days there are in the week. 6 sections the Mishnah has. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 is the number of the matriarchs. 3, the number of the patriarchs. 2, this is yours, Lolo. Who knows 9?
I know 9. 9 is the number of the holidays. 8 are the days to the service of the covenant. 7 days there are in a week. 6 sessions in the Mishnah. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 is the number of the matriarchs. 3, the number of the patriarchs. 2 are the tables of the commandments. 1 is our God in heaven and on earth.
Who knows 10? I know 10. 10 commandments were given on Sinai. 9 is the number of the holidays. 8 are the days to the service of the covenant. 7 days there are in a week. 6 sections the Mishnah has. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 is the number of the matriarchs. 3, the number of the patriarchs. 2 are the tables of the commandments. 1 is our God in heaven and on earth.
Let them do the last 2.
Yeah, well, in your group. Well, we're the group right now.
Yeah.
So, Linda, who knows 11? Do you know 11?
Maybe. I know 11. 11 were the stars in Joseph's dream. 10 commandments were given on Sinai. 9 is the number of the holidays. 8 are the days to the service of the covenant. 7 days there are in a week. 6 sessions the Mishnah have. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 is the number of the matriarchs. 3, the number of the patriarchs. 2 are the tables of the commandments. 1 is our God in heaven and on earth.
And Lotus, of course, is 10. I apologize, Lolo. And I know that Lolo certainly read 10. I apologize for having your age mixed up. Who knows? We did 11, right? So who knows 12? Who knows 12? I know 12. 12 are the tribes of Israel. 11 were the stars in Joseph's dream. 10 commandments were given on Sinai. 9 is the number of the holidays. 8 are the days to the service of the covenant. 7 days there are in a week. 6 sections the Mishnah has. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 is the number of the matriarchs. 3, the number of the patriarchs. 2 are the tables of the commandments. 1 is our God in heaven and on earth. And we can all do 13. Who knows 13? I know 13. 13 are the attributes of God. 12 are the tribes of Israel. 11 were the stars in Joseph's dream. 10 commandments were given on Sinai. 9 is the number of the holidays. 8 are the days to the service of the covenant. 7 days are there in a week. 6 sections the Mishnah has. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 is the number of the matriarchs. 3 the number of the patriarchs. 2 are the tables of the commandments. 1 is our God in heaven and on earth. My father bought for 2 zuzim, chad gad ya, chad gad ya. Then came the cat and ate the kid. My father bought for 2 zuzim, chad gad ya, chad gad. We're down at page 87. Then came the dog and bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzum. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. Then came the stick and beat the dog and bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzum. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. Then came the fire and burned the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzum. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. Then came the water and quenched the fire and burned the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzum. Gadya, Chad Gadya. Then came the ox and drank the water that quenched the fire that burned the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzum. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. Then came the butcher and killed the ox that drank the water that quenched the fire that burned the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzum. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. Then came the angel of death and slew the butcher that killed the ox that drank the water that quenched the fire that burned the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzum. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. And came the Holy One, blessed be He, and destroyed the angel of death, and slew the butcher that killed the ox that drank the water that quenched the fire, burned the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought for two zuzum. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. As our Seder draws to an end, we take up our cups of wine. The redemption is not yet complete. The fourth cup recalls us to our covenant with the Eternal One, to the task that still await us as a people called to the service of God, to a great purpose for which the people of Israel lives, the preservation and affirmation of hope, as it is written, and I will take you to be my people. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei Peri Hagafen. Amen. The Seder service now concludes, its rites observed in full, its purposes revealed. This privilege we share will ever be renewed until God's plan is known in full, God's highest blessing sealed. Shalom, peace. Shalom, peace for us, for everyone, for all people, this our hope. Next year in Jerusalem, next year may all be free. And just a reminder, there is a line in a famous Israeli song that goes, Avarnu et Paro, Navor gam et zeh. That means we got by Pharaoh, we will get through this too. How fitting that this song comes to our minds right at time of Pesach and COVID-19. We can conclude with, let's see, where is that concluding song, which we always love to sing?
God of might.
Yes, God. Oh, you okay? Well, you don't have to sing, darling.
I won't.
It's right toward the end, page 122. And if you like the song, maybe you can join with me then, and Linda May. God of might, God of right, we would bow before thee. Oh, I've got it. Sing thy praise in these days, celebrate thy glory, as we hear year by year freedom's wondrous story, how God gave to each slave promised liberation. This great word Pharaoh heard, making proclamation, set them free to serve me as a holy nation. We enslaved, thus were saved, through God's might appearing. So we pray for the day when we shall be hearing freedom's call, reaching all mankind, God revering. Now as erst, when thou first madest the proclamation, warning loud every proud, every tyrant nation, we thy fame shall proclaim, bend in adoration. Be with all who in thrall to their task are driven, In thy power speeds the hour when their chains are riven. Earth around will resound gleeful hymns to heaven. Emerz Hashem, that day will come when we, all humanity, will join together with joyful songs to heaven, when the blessing of the lifting of this pandemic will come to us for sure. May God bless us all. Thank you, darling. This was wonderful to be together.
I just want to say one thing. Thank all of you for coming to our Seder. It's been a thrill to have you here and to celebrate together. And I want to especially thank Laney and Fab and Sakura and Lotus
And Jesse.
and Jesse for sharing this with us too. You're very special, and I love you very much.
Yes, we love you all. Love you all in Colorado, all our precious family, and with Amy here in Baton Rouge. Thank you so much for all your wonderful comments, everyone. God bless you. Chag Sameach. Many hugs. Many kisses from me and Linda and from Chachi Dog. Chachi's wandering around, so I won't bother to lift him up. And we say Chag Sameach, Happy
Chag
Passover.
Sameach.
We'll be back Friday evening, which will be April 10th at 6 p.m. for our Shabbat during Pesach. Hope you can join us. God bless. Love you, everyone. Stay safe. Stay well. Bye.
Oops.